Hi, good morning all. Okay, let's get started today session. Uh, Today we'll discuss on functional setup manager. Okay, we'll understand what is a functional setup manager, how it is going to be useful in the application implementation process. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Fine, just let me check if somebody is not get unmuted. 1 second. Fine. So today we'll understand about functional setup manager. Functional setup manager. FSM. Okay, functional setup manager. When we talk about this functional setup manager, first let's try to understand what is the terminology we have to use. Okay, what is the terminology we'll come across when we are working on the functional setup manager. So we have a different product families as a part of Fusion applications or EBS, called, for example, financials. Financials is one product family. No, Srikanth, it's going to be third session. Yesterday's session also we recorded. We'll be sharing the video with you. And first session, like we had a demo that you can attend in another batch. There is no dependency. You can understand whatever we are discussing. Fine. Okay. So financials is one family, and in the same way as we know, SCM, supply chain management, and projects, say CRM. These are the different product families we have as a part of EBS or Fusion applications. These product families, as per Fusion, we call as a offerings. Just you can make a note. We call as a offerings. Financials we call as a offering, and SCM we call as a offering, and projects we call as a offering. CRM we call as offering. What are the product family we have that we call as a offering as per this functional setup manager? The functional setup manager you can treat as a one separate application in Fusion applications. Okay, this is one of the application majorly which we use for application configurations. To configure the applications, we can use functional setup manager. Okay. In functional setup manager, what are the product families we have? We call as a offerings. Okay, fine, done. Of course, when you look at fusion and all these, instead of calling SCM, we are calling as some procurement. There is some reason why just we are calling as procurement, because so there is no complete solution as SCM from in fusion versions, whatever the versions are available at this till this time. We'll discuss those points also later. The financials we call as offering, procurement we call as offering, project, CRM, other product families, each and every product family whatever we have we call as offering. Now when we talk about financials, within the financials we have different applications. Say general ledger, GL, and accounts payable, accounts receivable, cash management, and fixed assets. Okay, here are the different applications we have. So the product family we are calling as offering, and within the offering what are the applications we have, those we call as options. So now we can call GL, we can call as option, and payables, receivables, cash management, everything we call as a separate options within the offering. Okay, so this is a terminology which we use in the functional setup manager. Product families we are calling as offerings, and within the product, within the offering, whatever the applications we have we are calling as options. So these are the options whatever we have in finance. And when we talk about particular application, say for example accounts payables, accounts payable, within the accounts payable we have different processes. Means we have process called as invoicing process. Okay, within the accounts payables we have invoicing process, payment process, say expense process. In fusion, this expense process we can see as a separate application. Okay, anyway, just for understanding I am taking this point into this. We have invoicing process, payment process, expense process. These processes whatever we have in the within the application, those we call as a futures. It's a very generic term, futures. This we call as a futures. So this is the terminology we should understand. What is the offering? What do you mean by option and futures? Okay, the future is nothing but more or less it will be referring particular function which will be working in the application environment. Fine. We have offerings. Within the offering we have options. Within the option we have futures. Okay. If you have any doubt on this, if you need any clarification, please ping me. So, anyone? Just this is the terminology we should understand. The same terminology we have to use. Fusion Accounting Hub is separate future. That is separate. It's not part of your financial application. These are the separate application. When I talk about Fusion Accounting Hub, in the same way, like the same future we have in EBS also. Okay, Financial Accounting Hub we call as Financial Accounting Hub in the EBS. Since that same feature is available, they moved, they given in the Fusion application, we are calling as a Fusion Accounting Hub instead of calling as a Financial Accounting Hub. That's a separate one. Okay, fine. So is it clear, the offerings, options and futures? If you have any questions, please post those questions. We'll discuss accordingly. Fine, done. Okay, once we are okay with this terminology, we can start we can start discussing on functional setup manager. What is the use of functional setup manager? Okay, what is the use of functional setup manager? Okay. When you talk about functional setup manager, we have a different points to understand. Okay, fine. In the process of functional setup manager, what we can do is basically we can do the configuration, we can do the application configuration. Okay, just let me features. Fine. We can do the configurations, and here we can monitor the project. Okay, before that, just let's take the points in this way. We can create the project. Okay, by using the function setup manager, we can create the project. We'll understand detail level, like how to create the projects and all. Just high level, you can take these points. We can create the project, and we can do the application configurations, and we can monitor the project, and you can enter setup data. And we can export, you can import and export the data. Say you can export and import the setup data. And we can run the reports on export and import data. Okay, so within the function setup manager, what we can do, we can create the project, and within the project, whatever the applications we have, those we can configure, and we can monitor the project, and we can enter the setup data, and we can export and import the setup data. You can enter, or else just once you create the project, within that you'll be entering the setup data. The data you can export, and you can import into other environment, and we can run the reports. Okay, anyway, we'll come across all these points once we start working on the project creation, the functional setup manager. So to create the project, what are the points we have to consider? First, what we have to do is the fresh instance. So as per the project scope, whatever the project we are implementing for respective client. So what is the scope of project? First we have to understand. Based on the scope of the project, in the fresh instance environment, we have to enable the offerings. Okay, just process. The first step, what we have to do, the fresh instance environment, say enable offerings. Okay, first we have to enable the offerings, otherwise those won't be available to create the project. Offerings nothing but just now we discussed, right? Offerings nothing but is we are going to implement financials or procurement or projects or CRM. Okay, these we have to enable. When you talk about EBS, there is no concept called as enabling some group of applications or respect to particular application. We don't have there, but here we have. But if you there are separate applications. Say when you talk about majorly projects and all, there will be some concept called as we have to set some profile option. If you want to use some specific project related applications, there will be concept called as setting profile option, as we have license for the product. This is similar to that. Here there is no point where we will be mentioning as we have license or not. Just it's all about enabling the offering, which offerings you require. So once you enable the offering, you can start creating the project. You can create project. So while you are creating the project, within the project creation process, whatever the offerings you enable, those you can select. Say select offerings for your project. This is very simple task. We know, see, when we are creating the primary ledger, we require 4 C's, right? So anyway, calendar, chart of accounts will create, accounting method seeded we can use. But currency, when you talk about currency we should enable, right? Whatever the currencies we require, that can be functional or foreign, okay, we have to enable, then only the currency information will be available to choose while we are creating the primary ledger. In the same way, what are the offerings we require for our project, those we have to enable. The selected enabled offerings only will be available to choose for our project. Okay, so we'll enable the offerings, then we'll create the project. While we are creating the project, we'll select the offerings. Once you select the offerings, and what system will do is, based on selected offerings, automatically system will generate the task list. System will generate the setup task list. You can call it as setup task list. Okay, based on selected offerings, system will auto generate setup task list. Based on selected offerings, system will auto generate setup task list. By using the task list only, we can do the system configuration. Okay, with the help of task list, the tasks whatever we have related to that offering, we can do the system configuration. Then based on, by using the task list, we can do the system configuration. Done. Okay, fine. So we'll do the system configuration. If you want to do the system configuration, first there should be some project with a some selected offerings. Then system will auto generate the setup task list, so that system will be ready where we can start working on the system configuration based on the requirement, whatever the applications we are going to implement. Okay, this is the process we are going to follow. But here some other points to understand. When we are going to do the system configuration, one is just manual process. Manually you can configure the system, or else we can load the setups by using the rapid implementation approach. Okay, rapid implementation. Okay, when you go with a manual process, what we can do, each and every task we have to complete. Say for example, just calendar manually we have to go and create, and chart of accounts we have to create, primary ledger we have to create, legal entity, and whatever the setups we have, all we have to manually we have to create in the system. If you use the rapid implementation process, what we can do, for rapid implementation we have some templates, rapid implementation templates. So what we can do is, we can just enter the data in those templates, those we can import into system. So based on the data, automatically system will complete the configuration. But this rapid implementation templates are not available for all the applications and all. It's very limited. We'll discuss, we'll be working on manual. First we'll work on the manual process. Once we're done with that, we'll work on rapid implementation process also. Okay, we'll see those two. Okay, done. So once you're done with the system configuration, that may be through process of manual or rapid implementation approach, whatever it may be. So what we can do is, these setups if you want to move from one instance to other instance, what we can do, you can export all setup data. I'm just creating the calendars, chart of accounts, primary ledger, legal entities, business units, and payables, receivables, fixed assets, and other application configuration. So all the configurations we can export into Excel. Okay, we can export into Excel, and the exported setup data you can import into other environment. Say for example you are doing the setups in test instance. Okay, say for example you are doing the setups in test instance. What are the setups you done in the test environment? Those all setups you can export, and those you can import into, maybe if all setups are okay, you can import into production environment. So for example, it can be any environment, just we are taking example as test and production. And what are the exports and imports you are doing? Okay, fine. What are the exports and imports you are doing? Those you can see, like what are the imports and exports you are doing by running some reports. Okay, and we have reports also to run on this import and export activities. Okay, we have a reports to see what are the which setups are exported, which setups are imported into respective environment. By running the report you can view the data. Okay, so these are the points we have to consider. Okay, fine. So now this is the process we are going to follow. First we'll go with the system configuration through manual process. Later we'll see the rapid implementation process, then how to export the data into Excel spreadsheets, and how to import the data from spreadsheets to some other environment. Okay, fine. So first we are going to enable the offerings. In the fresh instance there won't be any offering which is enabled. Okay, so then we'll create the project. While we are going to create the project, what are the offerings we require, we'll be selecting. When we are selecting the offerings, again we have option to select particular option also. Say for example from financials we require only two applications, GL and AP. In that case I'll select the offering called as financials, but I'll be selecting options called as GL and AP. And again within those within the offering, what are the features you require, those also you can select. Okay, we have option, we have a just a selection, selection criteria where you can select entire offering or specific options, or within the option particular features. Okay, this is how we can select, and you can create the project. The moment you create the project, system will auto generate the task list based on the offerings or options or features whatever you selected. Then you can start working on the system configuration. Once project is created, what we can do is you can assign that. Okay, you can assign the task to the consultants, or say team members. Okay, system will generate the task list. For example, if you are implementing the financial application, to complete the financial implementation, what are the setups we have to do? Okay, all the setup related task list system will generate. Okay, based on the resource availability, you can assign the same task to the respective team member, and you can monitor the status also, and you can set the due dates, by which dates the consultant the task should be completed, and everything you can set, and you can that's what you can set the due date, and you can monitor the status. We can set the status for each and every task, whether the task is not yet started or work in process, or the task is already completed. Okay, the setup is completed or not, everything you can track. Okay, so these are the points we have to consider. Okay, Sukesh, just we are checking once. I don't know what is the reason we can't hear us. 1 second. We have one question from Vinay. While creating the project, we selected GL, say we selected General Ledger AP, but in mid of the project, can I select the other modules like? Yes, we can select. Okay, the selection option is always available against the project. Anytime you can select and you can do the required configuration. We can do that, Vinay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Now we'll see, like we'll work on the function setup manager right from enabling the offerings. Okay. Just we'll log into the instance. So yesterday we created a user named Sagar1, right? So India. Then just click on this drop down option or directly on the username. It will open one panel. Click on setup and maintenance. Please make a note, whatever we are doing, just please make a note. Okay, just click on this drop down option. Click on select setup and maintenance. Fine. So these all are the tasks which we can see, and see first this section we call as a global area. Okay, this section we call as a global area. Fine. Here we have a home. Once you log in, just home page. Okay. Later we'll try to understand how this home page and all will be useful. Some notification to receive the notification, and here social networking you can enable and you can use within the Fusion environment. Those points we'll discuss later. And here navigator we have. Okay. Navigator, here navigator in the sense based on the rules whatever assigned to respective user will be able to access to the specific functions. Okay, and we have favorites and other alerts, notifications and all that we'll see. Like, okay, this is the point we have to understand. Here we have navigator. Okay, from navigator also you can go to the setup and maintenance. Okay, you can just click on this user. It will open the panel. From here you can take this navigation to functional setup manager, or else directly you can click on navigator. Here it will open one navigator panel. From here also you have a title called as tools. Under tools you can select setup and maintenance. Done. So here let's understand about these. What is a getting started and configure offerings and manage implementation projects. So getting started, it's nothing but just analyze. We can analyze what are the offerings we have, in which offering which options are available, in which option which features are available. You can just analyze. Okay, before you go on to create the project, you can use this. You can use this feature to just have a look into the available offerings and options and everything. Just click on this getting started, so that we can go and analyze. Okay, we can get some idea on what are the offerings available, what we have within that. Just click on getting started. So here they are talking about what should be the implementation process. Okay, what should be the implementation process and what are the offerings available in this instance. These are the offerings. You can see the offerings list. So what is the implementation process? Will be planning. Okay, will be planning means we'll make a project plan based on the scope of the projects, scope of the offerings or options we are going to implement. Next, configure. Okay, configure. Just click on this configure offerings, then you can understand what is the meaning of configure. Here that nothing but will be selecting the offerings. Just click on this directly. You can click on this, it will open that option. So these are the different offerings as per your project requirement. You can enable for implementation. Just you can enable, you can configure. Okay, first we'll make a plan, then we'll configure the offerings, then manage implementation project. Once we start configuring the offerings and all, we have to manage the implementation project, where you will be having some controls on that, or else you'll be monitoring the status of the project, how much it is completed, which task is assigned to which team member. Okay, what are the due tasks, what are the tasks already completed, everything you can, okay, monitor. Here say manage implementation project. Just click on this. So here you have a projects, how many projects you have. If you click on any one of the project, you can see what is the status of the project. So it's not our user, it's not, this project is not assigned to our user. So just once you click on that, you will be able to see the status of the project. Okay, that we'll see when we create our own project and all. Okay, here all you can see like this, assigned to whom and what is the status of the project. Not only this, there will be a lot of information. I think it should come down. Okay, we'll see when we create our own project. There we can see what is the meaning of managing the implementation project. Then after that, export and import setup data. Okay, manage configuration packages. What we do, whatever the setups we are doing in one instance, those you can export and you can import into another instance. You may do the setups in the test environment, those you can import into production environment or some other development environment and all. Okay, it's all about imports and exports. It's all about setup data majorly. Here transact means you can perform the activity called as data conversion kind of activities. Okay, in the Fusion we have a concept called as FBDI, file based data import. By using that concept, you can import all the open transactions and master data into the system. Then maintain. Then once that is done, system will go live. The users will start using the system. Then we have to be there to support the users. And any other post implementation, any other additional configurations required, will be doing that. Okay, so this is a very traditional implementation process which we follow. But as per Fusion, these are the points you have to understand, like what is the meaning of export and imports and all. Okay, done. Now let's look at these offerings and all. Here we have financials. Just here, just you can click on this. Just or else just here, place the cursor on this. It will give some description. Okay, see the description. So configure how you manage financial flow, including means what, what are the options available within this, including assets, ledgers, cash cycle, invoices and payments, account receivables, collections and setup of sub-ledger accounting and tax configurations. Okay, these all are a part of financial offerings. Okay, just you can click on that. Just click on this offering. So here we have different documents, okay, which talks about this offering. Okay, so you can go to offering, then click on that. Okay, just click on offering. So the offering related documents you can see here. So offering content guide, The offering consists of what information and all, talks about content guide and associated features, what are the features are available within the offering, and setup tasks and setup task list and tasks. So to work on those features, what are the setups we have to do? Okay. And related business objects means what are the tasks we have that will be related to some specific configuration classification. That is nothing but, for example, if you are going to do some setups saying that say for example payable options we have in payables, right? There here we don't call it as payable options, say we call as invoice options. When you talk about task name is invoice options, but object name will be payables system options. The payable system related options, it's nothing, just here there is no point, functionally it won't impact anything. What are the setups we are doing, that will be classified into which object related setup this is. Okay. And related to enterprise applications means along for this financials, what are the applications we have some integration and all, some where this financials has some integration and all those applications also you can see here. If you want to have a look, if you want to just go through this, what is the content and associated features or task list, simply you can download this in the PDF or HTML or Excel formats. Just will download one document. Okay, yes, I think it's not PDF. Will download this Excel. I think there is some problem in my machine. You can see what are the associated features for financials. Okay, these are the different features. Okay, they given a very summary level. If you go with the task list and all, you can see all the tasks what are the part of. We'll go with its task list. Just click on it, just download it. So we can see all the tasks, which tasks we have to perform to complete the finance implementation. Okay, these are the different tasks which you have to perform. Okay, there are many tasks. Well, these all are not mandatory, depending on the requirement and all, we'll be working on this. Okay, this is just for information. Okay, done. So if you want to look into that, whatever the content you have for this and associated features or tasks or business objects or related enterprise applications, you can just go through these documents whatever available. Okay, done. The next step is just, it's all about, we are just reviewing, we are analyzing what we have. Okay, for respect to offering and all. The next you can select configure offerings. Okay, so this is the first step we have to perform in the fresh environment. Okay, you may analyze, may not analyze, just to see. If you have some idea, you don't need to go and analyze every time, right? So then the first step would be enabling offerings. You can take the task name as, say, enable offerings. Okay, to enable offerings, what we have to, in the function setup manager, under tasks, we have one hyperlink called as configure offerings. Just click on this. It will display all available offerings within this instance. So already these all are expanded, just I am minimizing this. Fine. These are the different offerings available in this instance. Okay. For previous batch already we enabled. This is a one-time setup. Okay. So in the instance level, one-time setup. Okay, already we completed. So this is how you have to enable. Okay, say for example finance is not enabled, just you can go and enable it. Okay, you can enable financials. And if you want to implement Fusion Accounting Hub, FAH, this is separate feature for where you can get the data from the different sources, and you can consolidate the data based on the some predefined accounting rules. Accordingly you can generate the internal and external reporting. Okay, just you can enable or you can disable this, and we will go and enable procurement also. So material management and logistics, it's inventory function. This whatever the offerings you are going to implement for your project, those all you can enable. Okay, so here already these offerings are enabled. Okay, if you want to enable some other offerings also, just you can enable. I am just enabling sales. So within that, whatever you have, system is opening. Okay, different options those are. Okay, yes, the project accounting also we have as a offer. Project accounting means as a project we call as a project intelligence or something here, the name projects intelligence or some other name. It's we do directly, there is no offering name as a project accounting. I think for project suite and all, they given the project portfolio management. As a part of that, we will be having all the modules. Okay, this is how just you can enable. Okay, offering under the different options, whatever available. If you want to look into this financials, within the financial offering we have different options. Supplier invoicing processing, nothing but payables. Expense, we have separate expense application, that's nothing but I expense. Okay, and fixed assets. Customer invoicing process, nothing but receivables application. Again within that collections, if you want to implement intercompany and all. Business intelligence reporting means this reporting, BI, business intelligence reporting. If you require for this application, just you can enable all this. Okay, once you enable these offerings or under within the offerings required options, then save and close. Okay, this is one time setup. For instance, one time setup. So when you are practicing in the lab and all, you don't need to do this activity. Okay,
what are the additional advantages by working with
additional I think you just came now, right? Fine. So the advantage is when you are creating the project, what are the offerings you require and options required. To choose the offerings and options, you have to enable here. If you don't enable, those offerings or options won't be available to create the project. Okay, fine. Okay, we just enable what are the offerings we require to create the project. Then just go to manage implementation projects. Select task called as manage implementation projects. Okay, manage implementation projects. Just click on this task. So here you can see all existing implementation projects. So now we can create our own implementation project. Just click on create. Just select task called as manage implementation projects. Then you can see all existed implementation projects, and we can create the new implementation projects also here itself. Okay, just click on create. So by default system is taking the name. Okay, here we'll take the name. So I'll take the name as ERPTREE Implementation Project. ERPTREE Implementation Project. Just tab out, system will default the same name as a code. Done. Even it is taking same as a description. So ERPTree.com implementation project. Now when we are creating the project, that project we have to assign to project manager generally, who is going to handle the project will be assigning. By default, which user is creating the project, the same user it will be taking for assignment. And if you want to assign other user, you can click on this drop down option, click on search. Okay, all users, what are the users we have, users are available in the system, that system will give the display. From there you can select the user and you can assign this project to the respective user. Okay, now I'm not going to change anything, we'll go with this Saga. Okay, it is taking the username, right? Username. So what is the starting date for the project and what is the some tentative finish date for the project, those you can enter. It's not mandatory to enter the finish date. Fine. Now this is a just project title and everything we are giving. Now we have to select what we have to do. First we have to enable the offerings and say create project. Yes, we created projects, nothing but title we created. Then we have to select offerings. Okay, now we have to select the offerings. Click on next. Okay, after entering this information, click on next. Now you can see all the offerings whatever you enabled before this step. Only these are the offerings enabled, right? Okay, only this. We have many other offerings, but all are not coming here. Reason, those are not enabled. Okay, fine. Just you can see all the offerings. So okay, these all offerings are enabled, but for your project, if require all these offerings, you can select for your project, or else whatever you require you can select. We don't need all these offerings, we need majorly financials. Within the financials for our project, what modules we require, nothing but options you can select here. Okay, we need payables, I expense, fixed assets, receivables, and collections, intracompany, and business intelligence reporting. So we need all these. Just select what are the options you require. Done. The same way, so I'll select the offering called as procurement also. Okay, select procurement related options. Done. Again within that we have some features also. Okay, this is how you can select for your project. Okay, based on the project requirement you can select. Done. Once you select the offerings or offerings and options, then click on save and open project. Whenever you click on save and open project, system will auto generate the task list based on the offerings and options whatever you selected. Okay, just click on save and open project. Just click on save and open project. Fine. Just click on save and open project. Now system is generating the task list. Based on the selected offerings, it will create the task list which are required to do the system configuration. Just meantime we'll make a note. So we'll select offerings, then we'll complete the project creation, then system will auto generate
Task list.
task list. Done. Done. Created. So you can see all the task list whatever system created for respective offering. Just I am expanding this financials. See here, this we call as a task list. These are the different task lists are generated by system based on the selection. Okay. Just you can expand this, you can see how. So different tables. Project we can assign to one user, and tasks we can assign to multiple users. One task we can assign to multiple users. Ideally the project will be assigned to project manager. The reality there may be multiple projects, but here just we have an option to assign to only one user. Okay, so this is how you can see all auto generated task list for our project. Since we started working on this project, let's change the status to in progress. Okay, so the project status is not started, right? You can just place the cursor, you can see not started. Now we'll change the project status to work in process. Just click on edit. Here you can change the project assignments also, and start date, finish date, whatever we given at the time of project creation. Okay, this project is created. Just click on edit. So here you can change the project name if you want to change. What is the status of the project? In progress. And if you want to change the assignment, that also we can do, but here we cannot assign multiple resource here. Okay, only one. This information, whatever you want to change, you can change. Then save and close. Say save and close. Now status is in progress. The same way, these tasks, whatever the tasks we have in particular offering, those tasks we can assign to team member. We can assign to team members. So for example, these tasks, all these tasks, just I want to assign to one team member. What I'll do, I'll select all those tasks from here to here. Just select this task, hold shift, then if you want to select all, just click here, all will get selected. Yes, Excel only. Okay, so select. Now what we have to do, these tasks we want to assign to team member, right?
Yes. Assign tasks.
Just click on assign tasks. Okay, just click on assign tasks. Now system will ask us to assign to whom. Just click on add. Okay, see here, if you enable this assign same due date to all the users, same due date system will be assigning. The due date you have to provide here and all. That's not required. Just click on add, select and add the user. So for example, I want to assign to LAXMAN. Username. Okay, select, say apply, and done. And say save and close. Now all those tasks will get assigned to this user. Okay, yeah, so you can see here assign to. assigned to, you can see. Say for example, I started working on these tasks. Okay, the team member, team member started working on this task. So based on the status, they can update. I mean, based on the what is the status of the task completion, they can update the status here every time. So say for example, that setup is completed. They can set the status to complete, or else they started working on this. You can set in progress. For everything, this is under progress. Okay, so this is how just you can assign the task to team members. Okay, just say done like this. Just again I'm going to this option, set or else just you can just click on this. I'm just going with this navigation, set up under maintenance. See, I mean it can be created from anywhere. You may create from HCM or IDM. You'll be able to see the user from this from assignment window. Okay, there is no condition, so where the user should be created and all. But here the user is created from IDM, Identity Manager. Okay, you can create from anywhere. That will be syncing with this function setup manager for any kind of task or project assignments. If you go to implementation project, whatever the project is assigned to this Sagar, you can see. See the user, I mean if you create the user from IDM, the user will have access to complete the setups as well as process also. But there are some limitations. Okay, most of the transactions also the user can perform who is created from IDM. Okay, if you create the user from HCM, the HCM user will sync with IDM. There you can assign the roles. Then that user will be able to perform all the activities as per the role, whatever he is doing the work in the company. We'll see that once we start working on the transaction process. Anyway, once again we'll be discussing that, but here just we have to understand how to create the project and how to assign the tasks and all. Okay, fine. So done. Here you can see that what is the project, how many tasks we have, how many unassigned tasks we have, how many tasks we assigned, and the project is assigned to whom and what is the status. And here you can see all the kind of graphical representation, like the percentage of task and all, how much is completed, how much is submitted, how much is frozen, how much is in progress, not yet started, and all. You can see all the information here. So whatever the task, I mean whatever the task you have to do for this project as a configuration, always you have to come to the project and select the project. From this environment only you have to do. Okay, from this environment only will be doing. Okay. So in the next session we'll talk about what are the setups we have to do, from where we have to start the setup, and what is the reason and all. We'll discuss in next session. Okay. So next weekend, Saturday 11 o'clock. Okay, we'll have a next session. So that's all for today. If you have any queries, you can just ping me through this go-to meeting. We'll discuss on that. And today's session, if you have any questions, please. Okay, people who are attending online or who are in the classroom, is the session for how many hours? Okay, the session will have every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, every day 2 hours we'll have the session. And if you require for more than that time, means yes, I'm okay. I'm ready to take how many hours you require. It can be 2 or 3 or 4 hours. Okay. How many months? It won't take months and all. Maybe like the total duration would be maybe 40 to 50 hours, I guess. So not Oracle projects. When you talk about projects here, don't think as a Oracle project. It's for finance only. Finance only, but you have to create the project if you want to do any implementation, financials implementation or procurement or HCM, HRMS implementation, any implementation, you have to create the first project. Within the project environment only, you will be doing the any kind of application configuration. Don't think this is a Oracle projects related session. Okay, the modules will be covering accounts payables, accounts receivables, general ledger, cash management, fixed assets, expense, I expense, and e-business tax. I mean, here we call as a fusion tax. So these are the modules we are going to cover. Intercompany, like no, we can see this intra-company concept. Intercompany, again, it's very advanced and all. That is not there in the scope of this training. Okay. So in this instance, we tried this procurement related setups also, but there is some bug or something, we don't know, it's not working. Before we complete this course and all, if we find that is working and all, I'll be including procurement configuration and flow also in this course. We can work on like how to do the purchasing, procurement configuration, and raising the requisition, purchase order, receipt. But I am not sure if it is going to be ready, instance is ready, if it is working, we can work on that. Otherwise, we'll go with this whatever we discussed. Yeah. Any other questions?
How about O2C cycle?
O2C cycle, in Fusion, we don't have any order management. Now, like even not only in release 8, in 9, 10, 11 also we don't have any order management application from Oracle. Still, yes, still Oracle is working on that order management module to bring into Fusion environment. That's it. Any other queries? That's what the same we are discussing. The P2P, when you talk about P2P, we have to do the procurement configuration. In this system environment, it is not working. If you want to see all the setups, I can show you, but what I am planning is before we complete the course, if that issue is fixed and all, we can I can show you the configuration and do transaction flow also. Okay. What support you are going to provide? You please tell me what kind of support you require. No, just what is your expectation? Don't mind, I am asking you what kind of support you require. Here the plan is just, it's all about sharing the knowledge on financials as a training sessions, and then we'll give you the instance access for 3 months. Okay, and you can do the practice. When you are practicing, if you have any issue, you can just report me. We can have a discussion. We'll try to fix it, and wherever you require my support on learning this finance and all, we can. What sort of questions? Okay, fine. See, whatever you are learning, see, you may have, this is a very generic question, and the answer also will be very generic. So what do you mean by functional setup manager? That is the one question you can take. Okay, just see, just focus on what we are trying to learn. Automatically you can answer to many questions. Now see, just if you are working on release 12, they will be asking the questions. What is the difference between EBS and Fusion? The respective to payables, GL or FA, what are the difference they will be asking. And in Fusion, whatever we are going to learn as a new concepts and all, they will be asking you, saying that what is this? For example, if you, further you will come to know, I may ask the question saying that what is the use of reference data set in Fusion applications. Once you complete this concept through this training and all, you will be able to answer. See, if I ask you the questions like when we are working on release 12, I can ask you the several questions, different features about release 12, and I can ask the difference between the 11 and R12. The same questions we can expect here between EBS and Fusion. See, there is no point to discuss on questions and all now. This is all about training. Once you complete the training, you can ask me the question. Then I can tell you what key areas where you may get the questions if you are planning to attend interviews and all. Then it will be easy for you to understand. Now nothing is completed. If I am going to give you some questions and all, what you can understand? Nothing. So okay, fine. We'll see in the next weekend. If you have any other valid questions, please ask me. Okay, fine. If you don't have any questions, we'll wind up the session for today. Okay, see you in the next weekend. Thank you. Have a good day.